Greetings, Grand Risings, and welcome back to my channel. I've had a lot of stuff go on in my life, and I've not really documented everything that I feel like I should have and I could. And I've been inspired by a friend of mine called Sophie, and I will put her link below in regards to growing back edges, especially for me after having what we would call tractional and stress related alopecia and hair loss. Now, as you can see, and possibly from some of my past videos, that my locks, which I've been growing for 14 years, is just above my bum line, basically, right at my waist. Some are longer than others, and the front obviously is a little bit shorter, but it's generally sort of all one length when it's pulled down in front of me and round my back, so it covers everything. And last year, I'll put a little picture in here of how my sides looked when I went and got my hair or my locks styled for the first time ever. And it was the person who I trusted to put their hands on my locks and in my head and touch my crown. And this part of my body for me is it's not about vanity, it's about safety, security and stability. And what my hair has shown me over the last 20 odd years is that I've not been taking care of myself properly. So over the last year or so, I've stopped touching my locks, basically. I haven't had it restyled, I haven't been separating it, I haven't worried about any form of regrowth in the main section of my hair. And in a year, I will try and take pictures of the back as well, but in a year I've gone from basically this being nearly totally bald to where it is now. And I will sort of just let you in to some of my secrets along the way in regards to what it is that I've been using. So one thing that I've always had throughout my whole life is a good bristle brush. And the reason why I have this is because I need to start treating my hairline. So I'm not touching the roots with the brush per se. I'm just moving all of the loose, unlocked baby hairs that have started to grow. And as you can see, this is the worst bit here. It's actually really tender as well. I don't know in regards to anybody else who has had this type of issue. And yes, I know tying it up like this is not the best. It does, and this is one thing that I will say, is that I always wrapped and tied my hair up. I wasn't one for wearing it out or down or having it styled over the years. It was always up and out of the way. And that's what contributed more so to what you see is going on. Now, believe it or not, the tufts of hair round the back, these are all new. I didn't actually have any of this really low, like it was literally baby hairs, like you could gel them down, they were so short. So in a year of not touching any of it basically, and just being very gentle with how I wrap it and how I've been treating it. So the reason why I have got it up like this is because I don't want all of my locks to get wet when I actually go and have a wash this morning. So I'm going to use a jug and I'm going to sit in the bath and I'm going to just wet this section of my hair and down the back, and then I'm going to use shampoo that I've bought just to stimulate and clean any of the sort of dead follicles and dead skin cells that may be sitting on my scalp, which is discouraging any form of new hair growth or slowing it down basically. So I found that my hair is very, very fine. It always has been. It's not thin. It looked thin when I permed it or curly permed it, all the treatments and things that I did when I was younger. So I grew up predominantly with natural hair. I was allowed to then have a cut and a style and a really, really mild relaxer. Even though I didn't need it, but it was purely for the style purposes at the time, a very mild relaxer. And the lady who did it actually shaved the back of my head off in order to have the style. It wasn't really what I wanted, but she kind of just did what she wanted to do. And because I was young and I was excited, and it was the first time I'd really been to a hairdresser in that way, I kind of let her bully me a little bit into having what we would say was one of the latest hairstyles, which was like a bob with a gradiated raised back, and she even tried to give me a fringe. And I'll be honest with you people, this forehead, this is not fringe covering forehead. You don't cover the forehead this size with a fringe. Over the years I've had, you know, the fringe that went across to cover the forehead, should we say, and but I've never had like a straight fringe is what you call it, and in the US I believe they call it a bang. Yeah, I've never had, and I've always wanted one, but you know, I digress. And it's purely just to cover the brains is what I call them. It's not a big forehead, it's just my skull has to protect my very big brain. So over the next few weeks and months, possibly even year, I will do a sort of update. I don't know whether it will be weekly or monthly, probably monthly, but I'm gonna actually start a weekly routine for the next 4 weeks. So I'll probably just take some pictures and then I'll sort of edit and, you know, piece it all together for you all, so you can kind of see what happens over a month, over a 4-week window. So yeah, so I'm just going to treat this section, as you can see here. It's not looking too bad at the front, but yeah, there's a little bit of a sort of, as you can see, a bit of a bald bit in the middle there. Well, it's not bald, it's just really thin. This bit is actually bald, is what I would say, if I get in really close to the camera. You can see how thin it really is. So I could gel this all down and sort, you know, look after it and that sort of stuff, but I don't want to put anything unnatural or any sort of chemical in my hair to keep it in place, if you know what I mean. I just want it to just grow and potentially get stronger naturally by itself. So I'll drop the links in regards to what it is that I'm going to be using as my first treatment, and as I go I'll show you something that I've ordered that I'm waiting for, that I hope well, yeah, will give me some sort of results. And there'd also be a little bit about the foods, the vitamins and the supplements, and what it is that I do really to try and feel better on the inside and stimulate some sort of hair growth on my head, other than locks. And I know people are probably saying, you know, why don't you just cut it off, or why don't you make it shorter so it's not so heavy? The problem isn't up here. The problem's never been the center of the crown of my head. It's always been my edges, ever since, like I said, I've been through some real traumatic sort of experiences in life. And yeah, my hair was what suffered because I used to pull it really tight, pretty much like this in one for years and years and years and years. And I think it was just to stop the stress from showing on my face. And as I've got older, I've realised that, yeah, it was really good for a facelift, but it wasn't good for my hair or my hairline. So thank you. If you know anybody else who is sort of in this sort of situation, even without locks, just having traction and tension and stress kind of formed alopecia, then yeah, and I'll give you some information about what alopecia is about as well. And sometimes it's actually a lack of a vitamin and stuff. So thank you so much for joining me. It's been a bit longer than I anticipated, but I did want to kind of give you a bit of history as to why I'm sitting here looking a little bit weird. One love, take care, thank you.